What's up, guys? This is Chris from DraftDashboard.com. Here are my DFS picks for NFL Week 12 Millionaire Maker. These picks apply for DraftKings and FanDuel. Before I get started, please drop a like on this video and hit that red subscribe button and hit that bell icon so you don't miss our new videos. Okay guys, this is for the Millionaire Maker slate, which is the Sunday main slate at 1 p.m. Oh, and stick around to the very end of this video. After I show you all my picks in the Draft Dashboard tools, I'll show you these players in DraftKings and in FanDuel, the Millionaire Maker slates. There'll be 2 spots open that you have to fill in, but you'll have a great Millionaire Maker core. Okay, my Millionaire Maker quarterback for Week 12 is Andrew Luck from the Indianapolis Colts playing the Miami Dolphins, who have the 10th worst defense overall, but they are pretty good stopping opposing fantasy quarterbacks. But Andrew Luck has scored 24, 22, and 23 fantasy points in the last 3 games, averaging 23.9 fantasy points per game on the season. He gets a couple of rush attempts a game. Andrew Luck is still setting records for pass attempts. This guy seems to be matchup proof. I think he had a bad matchup last week. He killed it with 24 fantasy points. Andrew Luck is $6,400 DraftKings salary. He's $2,000 more on FanDuel, projected at 21.6 fantasy points. Lots of volume and lots of opportunity for Andrew Luck here in Week 12. Real quick guys, I got great news. For a limited time, we're offering a full 30-day trial to Draft Dashboard. You can try all our DFS tools for NFL, and the tools for NBA are awesome. This is a great time to get in and try everything for 1 month. The tools are all about saving research time. You can see the last 3 games, the fantasy points per game, the targets they got per game, so you can see how involved they are in the offense, the rushes they got per game. Seeing all this stuff on one screen helps you save time and make better picks. Okay, my Millionaire Maker running back for Week 12 is Joe Mixon from the Cincinnati Bengals playing the Cleveland Browns, who have the 5th worst defense overall, and they give up the 6th most fantasy points to opposing running backs. Joe Mixon has scored 14, 11, and 32 fantasy points in his last 3 games, averaging 17.4 fantasy points per game on the season. He gets an average of 4.1 targets per game and 16 rushes per game, putting him over that 20-plus touch mark that you want to see from your running backs. He's been under that mark the last 2 weeks. The game script just hasn't really demanded a lot of Joe Mixon. I think that changes against Cleveland Browns this week. If Joe Mixon gets 20-plus touches, you can almost guarantee a 20-plus fantasy point game. Joe Mixon is $6,800 DraftKings salary. He's $500 more on FanDuel, projected at 16.3 fantasy points this week. I think he may go low owned. It's a home game, prime spot for Joe Mixon, but because of those bad games the last 2 games, people might be off him. They might think not enough volume, not worth the risk for the price. I'm not letting that fool me. Before I continue with the picks, I'm excited today because we added a new contest for everyone watching. If you want to enter the drawing for $100 PayPal, all you need to do is like this video, hit that subscribe button, and make a quick comment below to be entered into the drawing. We'll reply to a random comment and let you know that you won, and then we'll send you $100 PayPal. So it's that easy, and we pick a new winner every Saturday and announce them in our video. So get your comment in now so I can add another entry for you. Okay, let's take a look at my Millionaire Maker wide receiver for Week 12. I like T.Y. Hilton from the Indianapolis Colts playing the Miami Dolphins, who are the 10th worst defense overall and just a bit better than middle of the pack defending opposing wide receivers. T.Y. Hilton has scored 40, 11, and 4 fantasy points in the last 3 games, averaging 17.3 fantasy points per game on the season in an average of 7.9 targets per game. He got 9 targets last game. He put up 40 fantasy points. T.Y. Hilton is $6,500 DraftKings salary. He's $1,000 more on FanDuel, projected at 16.2 fantasy points this week. If you're playing Andrew Luck, you gotta pair him up with T.Y. Hilton. He was a touchdown machine last game, and I think that carries over to this game. I love Andrew Luck and T.Y. Hilton in Week 12. My Millionaire Maker tight end for Week 12 is Zach Ertz from the Philadelphia Eagles playing the New York Giants, who have the 13th worst defense overall, and they're about middle of the pack defending opposing fantasy tight ends. Zach Ertz has scored 4, 44, and 13 fantasy points in his last 3 games, averaging 19.9 fantasy points per game on the season, in an average of 10.3 targets per game. He only got 3 targets last game. This was an anomaly for Zach Ertz. Don't expect that to happen again this week. His ownership is going to be low because of that bad game. Zach Ertz is $6,400 DraftKings salary, $1,200 more on FanDuel, projected at 16.7 fantasy points here in week 12. I think that projection is right on. I think his price is warranted this week. You're going to see a different Zach Ertz than you did last week. Much more involvement in the game. It's a home game. Philadelphia Eagles are going to come out with a passion. They got embarrassed last week. Look for Zach Ertz to put his stamp on this game. If you want to try all these daily fantasy tools for yourself, click the link in the description below this video or just go to draftdashboard.com. You can use our DFS lineup optimizer to build quality lineups using our picks and your own custom player pool. Click the link in the description below this video and try all these daily fantasy tools right now. Thanks so much for watching. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit that bell icon so you can get instant updates whenever we post a new video. You've unlocked the bonus content. Okay guys, here we are in the DraftKings Millionaire Maker contest. We have our Millionaire Maker core loaded up here. We have $4,780 remaining salary per player. So let's plug in another running back. Running back I like this week is Matt Breida. He's got a great matchup. He's done really well the past few weeks. His price is low, so let's plug him in. Okay, now we need a couple of wide receivers. I really like Josh Gordon. He had a lot of drops last week, but I think he rebounds this week. He's clearly the #1 target in New England, who I think has a huge bounce back game and scores a ton of points versus the Jets, which means Josh Gordon is going to have his hands all over that. And now let's go for a real low salary wide receiver, someone that's definitely going to fly under the radar. This is a guy everyone was really high on to start the season. His price is down to $3,300 on DraftKings. He's got a phenomenal matchup here in week 12. It's Dante Pettis. So I know we're playing 2 San Francisco players, but I think the value makes it worth it. So now let's plug in a defense. I like the Patriots defense. Like I said, I think the Patriots are going to stomp the Jets this week. Patriots were embarrassed last week. They got a whole week's rest to game plan. That spells trouble when you have Bill Belichick at the helm. So now we have $5,400 left for our flex. So we can play John Brown, Sterling Shepard, Tyler Lockett. I think Sterling Shepard is the best pick there, but the choice is yours. You can change your defense, change the players that you don't like, put in players you do, make a unique lineup, and see if you can hit something big on DraftKings in week 12. Okay guys, here we are in the FanDuel Millionaire Maker contest. We have our Millionaire Maker core loaded in here. So let's plug in another running back. And I'm just going to go with the same guy as the other slate. I really like Matt Breida on both sites. I think his price is right. I think he's going to get a ton of work, exceed his value. And then for a wide receiver, let's go with the other wide receiver. We got T.Y. Hilton, we have Andrew Luck. So if we go way down in salary here, we have Dontrell Inman next to T.Y. Hilton. He scored a touchdown last week. If Andrew Luck catches fire, this stack will pay off for you. We're going to have to plug in another low salary wide receiver. I'm done with Michael Crabtree. I play him every week, so he's probably going to go off this week. He's done nothing for me the past 3 or 4 weeks, just sucking me in. So I'm going to go with Chris Godwin, $5,500. He's a wide receiver with some upside. In Tampa Bay Bucks, they're going to be throwing the ball all game long. And now let's go to the defense. I'm going to spend down at defense here, and I'll show you why in a second. I'm going to go with the Denver Broncos defense for only $3,300. I know they're playing Pittsburgh. It's a risk. But look, guys, if they get a turnover, a pick 6, this is where you're going to get your points. Even if Pittsburgh puts up 21, 24 points, that's not going to hurt you too much. So don't be afraid to branch out with your defenses. Okay, now that leaves us $8,800 remaining, so that means you can plug in Antonio Brown, Odell Beckham Jr., Christian McCaffrey. This opens up the top end of players. You'll see that it drops down to $8,100, Leonard Fournette, a questionable AJ Green, David Johnson. So the reason I spent down for Denver Broncos defense is so we could unlock these guys, Antonio Brown, Beckham Jr., and Christian McCaffrey. My pick would be Beckham Jr., but the choice is yours. There you have it, guys. You got your Millionaire Maker core for both sites, DraftKings and FanDuel. I wish you the best of luck. Play smart. Never play more than you can afford to lose. Keep that bankroll management tight. If you're struggling, just play a lineup, guys. Don't go crazy. Remember, DFS is a marathon. It's not a sprint. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, please smiggity smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Oh, and please comment below with your favorite player for week 12. I love to hear what you guys have to think. Thanks again, and good luck.